Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about Whitewater and Paula Jones?
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Give a special welcome, by the way. We have 40 people here tonight from Louisville, Kentucky, my radio station there, WHAS. They are here. You may properly be wondering what I'm doing with this baseball bat. This, ladies and gentlemen, is many things. Among them, this is one of the beautiful things you do when you cut down a tree. This proves that the most beautiful thing about a tree is what you do with it when you cut it down. You make a baseball bat out of it. Now, I want to get a shot here of what it says on the side. Which camera should I use? Over here, number 3. This is a personal model Rush H. Limbaugh liberal slugger, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Now, this bat was made for me by the people at Hillerich and Bradsby and delivered by the people in Louisville at WHAS. And the letter came with it, says it's from John Hillerich III at Hillerich and Bradsby, which is, this takes me back. When I used to do radio in Pittsburgh, back in the early 70s, I used to do funny phone pranks, phone scams as they're now called. And I called a sporting goods store in Pittsburgh one morning with the tape running, and I said, "Hi, I need a new baseball bat. Baseball season's coming up, and I've lost mine. Can't find it anywhere. I need a left-handed bat. And I want a Maury Wills autograph." Because he was my boyhood idol. And then this guy said, "Well, I have thousands of left-handed baseball bats." So I said, "Well, great." And I played him along for a while. He said, "Look, fella, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you're talking about, but I think you can call Roberto Clemente, you can call Bill Mazeroski, you can call Hillerich and Bradsby, and I don't think they'd understand you either." And he hung up on me. So I called Hillerich and Bradsby. And I said, "Look, I thought I'd go to the manufacturing source. I want to buy a left-handed bat. Look, you've got people that sold me left-handed bats as long as I've been buying them." Of course, he kind of chuckled at that. And he said, finally got down to, he said, "What's left-handed about it?" And I said, "Well, they've told me that the handle and the trademark on the other side." So anyway, it was fun. This is great. Here, let me give you this. Will you take that? All right. How many people in this audience here tonight would describe themselves as animal rights advocates? Let's put it that way. Wait till you see what we have next. If you are an animal rights activist, an extremist, or whatever, you're going to have trouble. This is a warning. I'm warning you to turn off your television set and don't watch what we have next. Because if you watch and it bothers you, you call and complain. Nobody will listen to it because you have been warned. I'm going to count down in just a moment from 5. I'm going to go 5 seconds. If you watch after 5 seconds go by and you get offended, you're on your own. Nobody will have any sympathy for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, all the animal rights extremists are now gone. They're watching something else. And only those of us who are not animal rights extremists are left. So this won't bother anybody. It's just going to be funny. On the Today Show recently, they had a chef at a restaurant in Boston. Today Show was on the road. The restaurant was called The Daily Catch, owned by Marie Fedora, and the chef was Geraldo Andrade. And Geraldo was demonstrating how to prepare lobster, and we thought you'd like to see how to prepare lobster if you've never done it. Watch.
So we're gonna take the lobster. No, you can leave.
Oh, God.
It's alive, by the way.
Take one claw out. Take the second one.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
Then
I
you-
know that's ridiculous, but I feel
And you
bad
cut
for
the
him.
lobster right in half,
Yeah?
like
Oh,
this.
jeez.
Then
This is fit for a king. This
Split and a
lobster
half.
never had it so good.
Oh, what a way to go.
like this. So you take
Okay, now it's done.
And on.
He's history.
So you just put it right inside.
Now watch this.
No, it's still moving.
Is all the
Yeah.
natural juices are savored as it simmers.
Ah, I see.
So just like this.
You
Like
can't get quite the same flavor out of a can.
Can't you give him sleeping pills or something before you cut him up?
Sorry,
Okay,
that's happened.
yeah. And he's still moving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's all right, Katie. In just a minute, they're going to drown the poor little thing.
With wine. So
Yeah, here we
get
go.
a nice smell. I wish you guys can get that smell at home, but it's impossible.
Okay.
And
I know, we don't have smell-o-vision.
Looks just absolutely delicious to me. Now, of course, everybody knows that lobsters are brainless, and it doesn't matter. But that hasn't stopped people from the ethical treatment of animals. We understand from a USA Today's story that they say they plan to sue the restaurant owners for cruelty. Now, what would, the normal way that you cook lobster that everybody thinks, you just throw the thing into a pot of boiling water. You've all seen that before. It's the knife that does it. What you don't know, what you probably haven't seen, is that our microphones were also there. We had a microphone placed on the chef's table. And when you add the sound of this event to it, it changes greatly. Here, now watch again.
The lobster. No, you can leave.
Oh, God.
Take the claw out. Take the second one.
Oh, sorry. I know that's
Ow.
ridiculous, but I
Cut it right in half.
This is fit for a king.
Oh, all right. Now, I don't know how many of you saw this on Saturday, but there was big news that was announced by the lawyers for the president. Apparently, the trooper, Larry Ferguson, submitted some court documents with his version of the Paula Jones story. Now, let me show you how this was played in two different newspapers. Up first, we have the New York Daily News. This is the way they did the story on Saturday. Taking aim at Paula, Arkansas trooper denies tagging her for Clinton. Now, if you just saw that, you would think, uh-oh, Paula's lying, right? Oh, no, Paula's not telling the truth. Let me show you the Washington Times of the same day. Trooper confirms Jones' visit. Says he pointed out Clinton's room. Now, let me tell you what the story is. There are slight variations in the story, but the central point remains the same. Paula Jones says that she was minding her own business at the registration desk at this convention at the Excelsior Hotel in Little Rock, and this trooper, Ferguson, comes up, points out the governor. You see the governor standing over there? She goes, yeah. He says that you make his knees knock, and he would love to see you up in his room. Now, Ferguson is saying that it didn't happen that way, that he walked in with the governor, and that Paula Jones came over and said, ooh, that's the governor. I'd like to meet him. Can you point him out to me? Can you take me to where he is? Can you show me his room? And that's the only difference. The story from that point stays the same. This trooper admits in his story that he escorted Paula Jones up to Bill Clinton's room and pointed out the room. So I don't know what they think they've got here on the president's side. The bottom line is that what she claims is true, that this trooper took her up to the president, then governor's room. Now, the interesting thing is that the president has denied this ever happened at all. He's denied meeting her, says it never happened, says he wasn't in the hotel. Bottom line is that the trooper, even in saying what Paula Jones says isn't true, is confirming that he took her up to the room, thereby suggesting that the president is not telling the truth. Ha ha, big news. You know, like, whoopee. Well, that's going to stop the press, isn't it? But now stop and think of this. There's something else. Because I know a bunch of you Paula Jones people who believe this, who believe her, were distressed when you read this. Can you imagine if the president of the United States or the governor of Arkansas walks into a hotel and you're there, and you see him and he gets up an elevator and goes away, and you go to one of his security guards later and says, hey, can you point out the president's room to me? And the security guy does it? I guarantee you, you know what that has to, it has to mean that there's a pattern of that kind of stuff. I mean, clearly this was not the first time that some woman asked to go to the president's room or was taken there. I guarantee if security people working for me and I go to the hotel, somebody sees me and says, you point out Rush Limbaugh's room to me, and they tell them where I am, there would be hell to pay not long after those people arrived at my room. But apparently this was common practice. Bottom line is, this trooper puts her in that hotel room with the governor. Nothing's changed. We'll be back after this. Don't go back. Hi, welcome back. Rush Limbaugh, the television show, a daily and or nightly relentless pursuit of the truth. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking about that lobster bit. Katie really wimped out on that. I mean, she turned away like that. And I was just thinking Willard Scott wouldn't have turned away like that. Anyway, I have gotten a lot of calls from frustrated people recently on my radio program. One guy called last week, and I hear this a lot. A guy called and said, Rush, I'm just getting fed up. Your Republicans and Democrats, there's nothing different. We're all just the same. And he was talking about, I'm sure, the characteristics of politicians. They're all just doing it for power, for their own personal aggrandizement, advancement, and so forth. They don't care about their constituents. They don't care about the country. They don't care about what they're really supposed to be doing there and all. And I cautioned him to hold his view on that because I don't think it's true. I think, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to say this, that there is a profound difference between Republicans and Democrats, major, and it has been this way for a long time. And here basically is what it is. And you will see this difference, by the way, embodied in the differing views there are on the health care plan. Republicans believe that it is freedom that has made this country great because it is freedom which has allowed ordinary people to do extraordinary things. It is freedom which has allowed ordinary people to become extraordinary people. Liberals think quite simply that what has made America great is what government has done for people. Now, you can't have a more stark contrast. And I think that if you look at the way health care is going, you'll see that the Democrats want cradle-to-grave care. And on the Republican side, you'll see that they rather leave it up to the individuals in this country to solve this problem themselves, massive though they are. And most Republicans feel that the problems that we have in health care, no cost competition, have resulted precisely because there's been way too much government involvement in the plan from the beginning 30 years ago. So never forget that. It is freedom. And by the way, there's no way the liberals are right. Democrats are not right that government's what made America great. It is freedom which has allowed ordinary people to become extraordinary, to do extraordinary things, because it is ordinary people who make this country what it is. And the freedom to do extraordinary things should not be infringed upon nor taken away. And I fear that it is on a daily basis. Now, how's it going for the Democrats? Not well, I like to say with a smile on my face. Let me show you a story in the Washington Times. Again, this is from last week. DNC will understand distance. This is a story. A guy in here by the name of Schweitzer was quoted or is quoted as saying that the Democratic National Committee will understand it if Democratic candidates want to run away from the president in the November elections, like happened in Kentucky, where Ron Lewis successfully... Ron Lewis successfully positioned his opponent, Joe Prather, as in Clinton's back pocket. His commercials, which we showed you last week, and did the job very well. Well, this caused David Wilhelm to have a cow on national TV when he found out about it. Here, do we have the clip of him on CBS this morning? Is that what we get? Watch this, folks. This is incredible.
Well, I haven't seen that quote. The Washington Times is a well-known Republican-leaning.
But do you agree with what he said?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I have been arguing vociferously that people should run aggressive, proactive campaigns, run with the president. We have a record to be proud of. We have just created the 3 millionth new job in this country, 3 times what the number of new jobs created during the entire George Bush administration. We have cut the federal deficit in half. We have passed national service. We're on the verge of passing a crime bill. We're making a difference in people's lives. That is a record to run on and be proud of.
Oh, whoopee. Well, how come your guy's down to 46% in the approval polls and 47% in the disapproval polls? The simple fact of the matter is that nobody's buying that, Mr. Wilhelm. And this guy Schweitzer probably did say it, and who knows where he is now. If I were them, I'd do a sweep of Washington area parks. Here's the answer to this. Wilhelm and Haley Barbour were on CNN Sunday afternoon and explaining the various. Haley Barbour runs the Republican Party like Wilhelm there runs the Democratic Party. And to show you how bad it's gotten for Democrats, Wilhelm's sitting there saying, right on the record. The president's got a great record, and we think Democrats ought to join the president, have the president out to their district and so forth. And Haley Barbour said, I agree. We'll be back after this. Hi, welcome back. Look at this headline, the Wall Street Journal, front page on Monday. NAFTA success may aid new trade accords. This is all about how we are exporting more goods than we ever thought we would at this stage to Mexico. They're buying our stuff like crazy. New jobs in America left and right just because of NAFTA. But let's go back in time. Let's look at some previous events on this program and see if you remember this. Here's first David Bonnier.
Well, the NAFTA was put together by the Fortune 500, and they're all going to the White House today. What I'm concerned about is the unfortunate 500,000 Americans who will lose their job under this agreement. This is the Bush NAFTA with a tax increase, and it's going to be very, very hard for this administration to solve this.
House Majority Whip David Bonnier thought NAFTA was a bad idea. Up next, our old friend E.T., Richard Gephardt, high cheekbones and all that. Here's what he said about NAFTA.
Despite the best efforts of President Clinton and his administration to remedy the flaws in the Bush negotiated NAFTA, the agreement is not a sufficient force for progress. So today I'm announcing that I will vote against this NAFTA.
And now let's look at what I said on 2 separate occasions on this very show about NAFTA. So I know that many of us are split down the middle on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. One of the reasons why is that you think that your job is going to move south as soon as NAFTA is signed, that American corporations are going to locate to Mexico, hire 58-cent an hour workers, and you're going to have no future. You see your country being given away. I disagree with you. Now, what we need to do here, therefore, is what is the single largest job-creating market in the country today? The export market. And we need to come up with jobs that create products which are exported. And we don't want to export things to places that they're not going to be able to buy, or that there are going to be tariff walls to where we can't get the products there. And NAFTA takes care of all of that. It really is a smart thing to do. Okay, folks, now you've seen Gephardt, you've seen Bonnier. These are 2 guys that the press and everybody's mainstream, very thoughtful, reasonable guys, couldn't have been more wrong. Then you have me, Rush Limbaugh, said by the press to be loony, extremist, extreme on the far right ring fringe. Who was right? Who was right? I was right. Thank you. And that's just one of many examples I give you. We have a little bit more right after this, so don't go away. Thank you. Hey, I want to thank everybody from Louisville to WHAS again, and Hillerick and Bradsby for this bat. When I worked for the Kansas City Royals, one of the jobs that I had was to get bats like this personalized for nice big clients of the ball club and so forth. This is great to have my own with my own signature. Thank you all. On deck, no one. I'm the only hitter on this team, folks, and when I'm not here, there's nobody left. So see you tomorrow, right here, same place. Bye-bye.
Services provided in